When I was working in Bombay as an architect for Talati Pantiki, this job opened up in Bangalore where I would be traveling from Bombay to Bangalore once a week. So I said, okay, we'll take up this offer in Pondicherry at Golden Bridge Pottery and travel from Pondi to Bangalore, This is Golden Bridge Pottery, GBP as we know it. Traditionally, South India is known for low temperature terracotta work, some like this, traditional work, large urns and things, funerary urns. But there is no history of high-fired stoneware, what we call high-fired ceramics, in South India. Ray and Deborah set up Golden Bridge Pottery in the early 70s here, and Ray started taking on students. So this here is what we call the Chinnagama. It's a term of endearment for the Anagama. One of those large kilns that you fired once, sometimes twice a year. It's 80 cubic feet, more or less, inside. And now students from here have found their way all over the map of international ceramics. Some student work from earlier days. Along the railway lines of Bombay city, where you're passing in a train, tracks full of people sitting and doing their morning job, where you would see a butt and a bucket, a butt and a bucket, a butt and a bucket. And of course, early morning sunlight to late night moonlight. It's the butt and the bucket going around, and everybody else is doing their own thing. In the car, on the bike, the palm trees. But this keeps going on. So these are the Architects of Immortality series, cubes which were initially made as individual objects, somehow work together as a stack. They work out as interactive pieces inspired by the Tibetan prayer wheels. You'll see some text on this. The title is from Sri Aurobindo's epic Savitri, and the first few pieces that I made had got text on them which actually was very legible, Architects of Immortality somehow, so that's how the title came about. And I make them in different configurations and wood-fired, gas-fired, this is again wood-fired, and different clays give you different colors and different shades.
So when I came here, Adil was here, and I remember his first paintings. He uses color in a kind of a restrained way, but what interests me about the way he uses color is that you think that there's not much color in these very textural surfaces, but then when there is color, then that kind of invokes the other color.
And what I'm starting here, I have no idea what I'm going to do.
What interests me about his painting, he is fascinated with texture, and that probably comes from his ceramic background. And he doesn't deal with form on the surface. And in his textural surfaces, there's calligraphy. Specific order and some changing the linear surface, which he does in his establishing the texture, but then he does calligraphy on that surface, and that draws you in to the surface.
These canvases have started becoming objects, as freestanding objects. I mean, why do you have to hang a poor canvas on the wall, crucify it all its life, you know? Bring it out, have it as a loose piece, move it around the house, see how it changes in different locations, in different light. And that's how the barcode idea also originated, where the smaller barcodes I was making were objects. They were no longer paintings hanging on a wall. Sure, you could make a ledge and put them on a wall, but they were still sculptural because they were three-dimensional. So there was this project in China that I was approached for. This is Dr. Ichi Su, who is one of the guys responsible for a project called the Museums of the Five Continents, where essentially they invite ceramic artists from all over the world to a small dusty little town called Fuping. Thing is, when I was deciding on what to make at this residency, when in India you think of China, what do you think of? You think of consumerism. Everything in the market these days is flooded from China. So I said, let's make a barcode, because the barcode is what is actually there behind every product that you get. So although I started making these at the residency in China, it became not something that I was happy with, so the barcode became something else. When I came back, I made these in acrylic and canvas, smaller versions of these, and somehow an image of that in a catalog reached people who were in charge of the airport project in Bombay, and I was commissioned to make a huge 12-meter long, 2-meter high barcode for the airport. After all the negotiations, it turned out that the person was actually expecting me to have made this out of clay, because he says, I didn't think this was a canvas because I know you as a ceramic artist, I don't know you as a painter, so please make it out of clay. I said, you're giving me 9 months, and for the kind of budget I've given you for canvas, there's no way I can do it even if I could try to make it. And I don't get these colors in clay. This is why I work on canvas, because I can get colors in canvas which I cannot get in my clay. Project didn't come through, I got a little upset about it. I said, come on, let's do it anyways. We started from blank canvases till we finished everything. These get cut into two and made into barcodes on a wooden frame inside. And I use a lot of clay elements in the paint mixture. That is why it looks so tactile and so clayey. It's not just the canvas that you can see the canvas texture at all, which is why people actually want to come and touch it, because knowing me for my clay work, they think, which is a compliment to me, that this is clay. And I wish I could do this in clay. It's because I like the idea of people touching things. The sensation of touch is very important, even if it's canvas. So these two objects here, yeah, both made in Japan at Shigaraki. I was doing a 3-month residency. I was awarded a residency to be there and make a body of work there. These sets are being made for a show in Australia. I'm part of a 6-person show at the Trinale that's going to happen this year, and the premise of the show is that you are all 6 of us, 3 Indian artists and 3 for Australian artists. We are taking one object each, selecting one traditional craft object and making it contemporary into whatever we want to make. And without telling the other 5 what that object starts out to be as, you send it bisque fired to those 5 other people across the world and let them finish the pieces their way and bring them to Australia. And the show is called 6 by 6, so there are 6 objects by 6 people, so it's a show of 36 objects. And then at the show there will be a poster on the wall explaining with a photograph of the original craft object what it started out as and then what it is. So I have, from my side, taken this object, which is a set that we grew up seeing in our homes, in Parsi households. This is called a sais. Made this in Japan. It's anagama fired in Shigaraki. Wherever I travel, I try to copy the font of the place without really knowing what I'm writing, and somehow it fits into a series that later on became a show in Bombay called Secrets and Lies. I love what I do. I don't say I'm going to work in the morning, I say I'm going to my studio. That's by in itself a blessing, a grace. And if there's another material or a medium calling, I have no problem with that.